So, I've really been struggling with what to say today because something's been on my mind and I don't necessarily know which direction it's going to go. But all my life I've struggled with like black and white thinking. I always want to define things, and I'm just now getting into the maturity level where I can not label something and just give space to it to be whatever it is, you know? And so for a long time I wrestled with the fact that although I am Buddhist, when I want to be motivated, when I want to stir up my spirit, I listen to Christian teachings. I listen to these very powerful preachers. There's this guy in Dallas named T.D. Jakes, African American guy, owned huge mega church called the Potter's House in Dallas. I've been there. I've seen him while he was here in San Antonio a few times at Cornerstone Church. Very powerful message. Stirs me, my whole spirit, feeds me spiritually, talk about a motivational speaker. Every sermon is about you can do it because God's on your side. How can you fail? And so when I'm in a very analytical state and I want to go inward and think about how I should be in the world towards others, I lean towards the Buddhist teachings, very introspective. But when I want to go out and do something in the world or accomplish a goal, I very much lean on Christian teachings and these pastors and preachers that really know how to stir up my spirit and motivate me to do things, right? And give me self-confidence. And so it's kind of like, am I this is the old way of thinking. Am I a Christian that's dabbling in Buddhism? Or am I a Buddhist that is dabbling in Christianity? Like, what's going on here, right? That's the old Kylie. The heater has to be all the way on, or the AC has to be all the way on. It can't be in the middle, right? Currently, though, by allowing space to these ideas and just saying I appreciate both teachings, and I don't necessarily have to totally believe one or the other. I can take what's good from everything, all the wisdom traditions, and apply them to my life, whatever feels right to me, right? But in that process of thinking, it's come to light, like, why do I identify not only culturally being raised in church and kind of being around these Christian teachings, what is it that really motivates me about what these guys are saying, these preachers are saying? And I think it goes back to the classic hero story, the journey of the hero, which is, they say, the only story there is, And so these great teachers and preachers can take the life of Christ and show you how it reflects back to your own journey, And they can take just this little tidbit about when, say, Jesus was betrayed by Judas or something, and how that all played out, and bring it back to your own life, how you'll be let down by people, your family, your friends, your colleagues, your company downsizes, any of that stuff, And so I think I've been failing to truly appreciate the hero's journey in Buddhism, because there are a lot of insights there. Take, for instance, Buddha leaving home, or even his mother dying when he was a kid. Buddha's mother passed away when he was a child, so he was basically motherless throughout his life. And so there's some things there about abandonment that we all deal with, right? And always wanting to cling to the mother or seek some kind of safety that we can't ever find in our job or in our identity or in money or in any of these things. Always seeking that sense of safety that's so elusive, that Buddha lost as a young person with his death of his mother, and then eventually he had to strike out on his own and leave home to seek enlightenment, and he went on this hero's journey, which ultimately they say led to or culminated into his awakening. That's why he became the Buddha. He went from being Siddhartha to the Buddha, which means the awakened one, but it started as a very human journey of leaving home. He had to escape out from under the shadow of his father. He had to escape out of the shadow of expectations, because supposedly his father was a rich ruler and that he was supposed to take over the family business, right? So the family, his father had all these expectations for what he wanted him to be, and Buddha had to strike out on his own, leaving the comforts of home out into the wilderness to escape and find out, what do I want to be in this life? No matter, it doesn't matter what my father wants me to be, or society wants me to be, or what the expectations were for me when I was born. I have to strike out on my own, without my dad's money, without my dad's influence, without any of these things, and struggle out in the wilderness until I find out who I really am as a person, And so in some ways, we're all on that journey of enlightenment, right? And in that journey, there's fear, there's suffering, there's the unknowing of what tomorrow brings. And I don't think I've really taken the time to look at that. It's very clear in Christianity about even the crucifixion of Jesus and the fact that he was born again. After 3 days he rose. We all have those times in our life where it's like the dark night of the soul, where it looks like we're entombed in our depression and our darkness. We don't know what's happening to us or why it's happening to us, but we keep going through the journey until we see that light at the end of the tunnel, and we rise out of it having the wisdom of going through that experience. We've all been through that. Whether it's loss of job or divorce or trauma, life itself, you can be locked in a room by yourself and go through that in any given day, sinking to the depths of existential, why am I here? Life has no meaning. What's the purpose of all this? Am I happy? Are other people happy? And in some way emerge from it, finding your own hope, your own reason for living, coming to your own understanding about what it's all about. Bringing your own meaning to your life. What gives me enjoyment? Why am I going to get up tomorrow and look out the window and say, yeah, it's a good day to be alive? We all have to find those reasons for ourselves. No one can give us those reasons, And so what I want to do, not today necessarily, but I just wanted to throw that out there, is that we're going to give Shantideva a little break, although I love him desperately. He speaks directly to me in a lot of ways. I really want to dive into what Buddha's story is. What is the life of Buddha trying to tell us about our own human journey? And then his teachings, how do they really apply to our lives? Yes, we've talked since the beginning of Woke House. We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to be kind. We're supposed to be gentle. We're supposed to be patient. Yes, yes. We know that, but why? Why? And in a very real way, what was it that Buddha saw in his awakening at the end of his hero's journey? He's supposedly coming back. You know, after the hero's journey, they attain the goal and the blessing or the magic or the sword or the treasure or whatever it is, and then they bring it back to them and share it with the world. So Buddha goes through all this suffering, and at the end he finds the treasure, which is the Dharma or the teachings, and now he's come back and given them to everyone. Share the treasure with the whole world. And so in these teachings, what are they truly trying to tell us over and beyond just being good, you know, not being a jerk to one another? What are the deeper teachings of the kindness and the generosity and the patience? And why would you need an entire hero's journey to figure out not to be an a-hole to each other? So moving forward, I'm just going to really at home break down the story of the Buddha and break down his teachings and try to figure out how we can apply it to our lives and how it manifested out of the hero's journey. And hopefully in some ways bring tidbits of it to Woke House and put it out there to you guys and see if we can have a conversation about it. So with that, I'm wondering if y'all have any connection to anything that I just said. Mm-hmm.
I was applying the same in my head, the same energy as a megachurch leader would out in front.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same message. It's just a different energy that brings.
Mm-hmm.
We could get up on stage and preach to a huge crowd the teachings of Buddha with more gusto, yeah, instead of the calm, compassionate. It can still be compassionate, but it can have a lot more energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like as you're speaking, I was applying it, to the same arena, and it was the same message, and it started to uplift me because I've been in that same situation. So that's
Definitely.
That's pretty cool.
You said, why are we here? What's the point of all this? All that was yesterday for me. So the here, when you say why,